What is good, all of our listeners and viewers, and welcome to another episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
And I'm Liz.
And I'm actually wearing a different shirt this video.
Oh my gosh, you are.
Woo! We're on episode 104 with our special guest, Adrian Hon, who is the CEO behind Zombies Run. But before we get to him, we've got some segments for you. Yes, we do. I'm all calm now. I'm done. I think. I'm not sure. Welcome back to another episode.
I don't think you need this.
No, gimme. It's a cherry pie. I love cherry pies. They're good.
Have I ever tried that?
They kind of taste like grape juice a little bit.
I love grape juice.
Yeah, you should try it.
I should.
All the cool kids are doing
that's
it.
what I was asking. Have I ever tried the cherry?
I think you
one?
have. It's
But I
really
like
good.
it.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like cherry?
That's really good.
Cherry medicine is bad, though.
Cherry medicine is horrible.
It is. It doesn't taste anything like cherries.
No.
You know what it tastes like? Death. That's what it tastes like.
That bubblegum medicine tastes good, though.
Yes, it does. I won't disagree with that. So, just wanted to let you know that if you're new here, hi, what's up? We're Adam and Liz. It's Games and Groceries. No. This is Games and Groceries. Just want to let you know that if you're new here, guess what? If you want to just jump right ahead to the main guest, we've got timestamps for you. You can just jump ahead. You're not going to hurt our feelings because I am not physically in the video. So how will I know? Except I will look at the YouTube stats and I will see. But most importantly, it's your podcast. You can do with it what you want. We've got movie recommendations, some gaming news for you. But if you just want to jump ahead, you're free to do so. We give you that freedom to do it. So take advantage if you want to just do that. But stick around. We've got some segments for you. So Liz, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, my hair is straightened today. Oh, that's not tight.
Yeah.
I fishtail braided it.
Oh.
That's why I grew my hair out, because I used to love doing braids and doing my hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I straightened it and then I put a fishtail braid in today because that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy today, and my makeup looks. I feel very good today. I'm wearing my favorite shirt. I got my hair the way I like it. I got my makeup the way I like it. It's fabulous.
So I think we should get the show.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to do something really quick, and then I want to get into something that's been on my mind lately,
Okay.
especially in this time and age. But just really quickly, you can follow us on social media at Gaming Groceries. You can follow us individually. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
You can follow us on Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word, where we like to interact with all of our guests. Anybody who wants to come in on the conversation here, I will ask you a question, and you can be involved on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. I share videos on there as well. And also check out our website, gamesandgroceries.com, where you can find out where you can listen to all the episodes, the audio versions of the episodes, and some backlog episodes on the website.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't yet, definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when all these videos come out, as well as our new videos. We're not doing video essays anymore because they take far too long.
Way too long.
They literally take a month for us because we work full time.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing new videos starting this week as you're watching this. Going to be skits, sketch comedy. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy that. But yeah, just the video essays just take too long, and we want to give you more content. But so yeah, just want to say something real quick because everybody has to make statements here, and that's okay. So we're going to get into it in the gaming news. Here's my problem. Not the statements of themselves in terms of racial equality.
Mm-hmm.
Are those racial equality statements genuine?
Yeah.
Or are they just PR moves?
Yeah, that's how I always feel about companies when they come out. It's like, all right, but you weren't saying this before. You only say it when something like this happens.
And we're going to get into that.
Practicing it all year.
And we're going to get into that in another gaming news with another company. But the thing I want to say is that what are we going to do in 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. Anybody watching or listening, this is inevitable that you will move on from this.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. In the same way that we moved on from the 2015 Baltimore riots for Freddie Gray, nothing was really changed for 5 years. And now we're here in 2020. We're rioting again. And just, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, we were worrying about flattening a curve, and then we moved on from that, and now we're doing this. It's not a good thing to move on from this.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing because what's going to happen in 2021, everybody's going to forget about it. Nothing's going to change, right?
Yeah.
Now we recognize it. Now we see it. Now we have to do something about it.
But one positive, though, if you think about it, just real quick.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of positive going on.
Well, no, is that
yeah,
it's an election year. Before, it was still a whole year before elections.
Oh,
this
true.
is an election year, so it'll be fresh in a new president's mind.
Yes.
So you don't know. A new president could take this and be like, this is something I need to remember so that I do something.
Yeah.
So, it's a little fresher for a new president. So you don't know. It could change.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
here's the thing is that racial inequality, and we promise we're going to get into more entertaining news here. We're not going to get too political here.
No. And we have a lot of things to talk about today. So.
Right. But I just want to state out that, like, what are you going to do in the later 2020, going to 2021, 2022? Are things actually going to change for you? Are you actually going to call out people? Are you actually going to protect the rights for those who can't call out? Right.
Yeah.
Because we do have white privilege. And what white privilege actually means, and not that everything's handed to us on a silver platter, is that we have the upper hand.
Yeah.
In America, we have the upper hand.
And we don't have to worry as much.
Right. Because we all heard that study before that a resume is given. One sounds like a white name. The other one sounds like a black name. The black names actually get rejected. That's the upper hand we're talking about. So why are we using this upper hand to make it change?
Yeah.
Right. And someone made a really good point in a Facebook video. That's who signed the Declaration of Emancipation Proclamation, right? White people in America. So why aren't we using that?
White men.
White men, right? Why are we using that, right? Instead of invoking hate, going forward and actually making changes, calling out people that are racist, right?
Yeah.
Making that a fireable offense.
Yeah.
Right? I still believe in First Amendment rights, right? But you need to choose your words wisely.
Yeah.
Just because you can say it doesn't mean you should say it.
Yeah. You still should choose to be a kind person.
Yeah. And that's the thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Because I'm trying to make this condensed and not all of my full emotions here.
Save it for What's the Biz.
Yeah, if you want to check out What's the Biz, coming out tomorrow.
We'll probably talk about it more because we talk about what's going on in our life, and this is what's going on in our life. So.
Yeah. But the last thing I'll say is that the reason why I think that we shouldn't put these people to death and life in prison for what they say is because how is that going to change racism? How is that going to change racism?
Yeah, you just kind of fill a jail with racist people.
Exactly. The last thing I'll say is that if you've ever, and I know I'm everywhere in this, I know, because I'm really trying
to condense it so you're skipping a lot of main points.
Please check out What's the Biz. I will say more on that on the What's the Biz podcast. But the thing is, if you've ever worked with a kid, being in youth ministry, if you ever worked with a kid, right, that was always told by his parents that you're an idiot, you're stupid, you'll never make it, right?
Yeah.
Where's that kid going to go?
Yeah.
Most likely that kid's going to always think that they're stupid. They're always going to think that they're good for nothing. They're always going to think that they're the bottom of the barrel. Nobody loves them because they're always told that's what they are, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Same thing applies here. You always tell them that they're always going to be a racist. They're always going to be an evil person.
Yeah.
You block them. You let them know that they're not associated with you. Guess what they're going to keep on doing?
Yeah.
They're going to identify with the identity that you've presented to them.
Yeah.
Right? Always telling them that they're a racist, blocking them, telling them that I don't want anything to do with you. This is why racism is in America, because instead of having a conversation with people and telling them why racism is wrong and why it hurts people and why it hurts our society, right? Instead of explaining that,
you just yell at them.
You just yell at them like I'm doing with you, listener. And they're going to continue being a racist. They're going to continue being an evil person.
Yeah.
And they're going to raise people in that light. Racism won't end until discussions are met.
Yeah.
And that we actually explain to people why racism destroys a society. Otherwise, we're just going to divide the country like we did in a civil war, and it's going to destroy our society.
Yep.
We need to accept that talking to our enemies, having discussions, meeting them, and actually explaining it to them that they can understand why they need to end their racist mindset, that's what will end racism. Not blocking people, not persecuting them, not putting them in prison for life because they're always going to identify as a racist and they're going to pass that mindset to their children.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. Okay.
But and just to add on this one last point, that is part of the problem, is that there are so many people in this world, in every culture, that believe people can't change. Yeah. And that is, I think, a very toxic mindset to believe people can't change. And I've always been in that mindset of people can change.
People can change.
One life situation, one friend, one small thing can be like, wow, I was stupid. Yeah. Or just not even stupid, but like, you just see something differently at this point. Yeah. You grow up, something happens, So, but there are so many people in this world who believe people can't change, and they see a race and they're like, oh, always racist. Yeah.
So again, if you want to hear my fuller thoughts, check out What's the Biz. It's coming out tomorrow. It's on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, because I know I'm not making a lot of sense here. And I hope I don't get in trouble here. But here's the thing, is that I'm invoking change in the light of we need more discussion. We need to face these people and actually be compassionate and spark a discussion and explain why. Yeah. That's the way we can, because we're just going to keep having riots. We're going to have the riots like we did in 1992, 2015, 2020, where now it's a global riot. Yeah. Global. But that's the thing, is that why are we so afraid to have discussions with these people? We're just ready to burn down their buildings, hit them so hard that they end up in the ER, right? I will leave a link in this description if I can find it. I hope I can. But there's a man, an African-American man, that actually goes to the Ku Klux Klan. Like he goes to their meetings and he invokes discussions and they hand their robes to him. Yeah. And he keeps it to remind everybody, this is how many people have changed by discussion. By discussion. He just goes in. And the fact that they're even open to talking to him. Like, they're members of the KKK, and they're open to talking to this man who they are strongly opposed of. So that's an amazing story. I forgot about that. Yeah, I hope I can find a link to that. I will search for that, and I will put it in there. But he actually invokes discussion, and he, takes away that hate from them because he didn't burn them down. He just said, why be racist? Them, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me? Yeah. And that's it. And then that's where that conversation starts. And then he's actually invoking change. Yeah. But that's the thing. We need to go forward into 2020, 2021, understanding that bringing people down isn't the way to do it. Yeah. We've seen history. Yeah. Why haven't things changed since 1992? Why haven't things changed since 2015? Why are things exactly the way they are? It's because that's the thing. Like peaceful protests, you say that don't work. Riots don't work. Yeah. We've seen that all across history. Why haven't things changed since 1965? Those riots. I might be getting that wrong year. Sorry about that. But I'm going on and on and on. Yeah, you said, I'm going to keep this short, and then you just keep going. I know. It's just it's a subject that you have to get passionate about. You have to be serious, and it's hard to reel it in and keep it short. Yeah. Which is why it's probably going to be the main subject of What's the Biz this week. Yeah. So if you're interested in that, by the way, if I'm in trouble, write in the comments down below. Am I in trouble? He said something stupid. Yeah, go for it. I don't really care. Spark a discussion with me of why I'm an idiot. But definitely check out What's the Biz. We'll talk about it more. It's audio only. It's not on video, but we'll probably be talking about that more. Yeah. So, but this is a video game news thing. But we're going to talk about movies first. But okay, so I want to bring this into a more fun light. Hooray! I love you so much watching this. He's looking at me like, what just happened? We're on minute 15 already. I get So I'm sorry that I rambled. All right, let's move on to movie minutes. Let's go on to our first segment.
Movie minutes.
Movie Minutes is a segment that we talk about the movies in the past week, whether it be on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, not in theaters just yet.
Almost.
And we like to give you a recommendation or not a recommendation. This week's movie is actually coming from Hulu. It is an indie film. It is funded by IFC, and it is filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So it is called, oh, no.
Hey, Adam.
You didn't see that slide.
You have the mouse right there.
Oh, no. The Disappearance at Clifton Hill.
Woohoo.
All right. So opening thoughts. Go for it.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
There were some things missing in it that I
Yes.
feel like this movie could have definitely been 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it would have given all the information needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they spent a little too long trying to condense it down to an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was part of the problem, but because there was a lot of information missing.
Yeah.
From the story, where it's like they talked about something, but they didn't really explain why that was important to the story.
Yeah, I agree.
So there were little things like that. Overall, it was a good story and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was confused and I still really don't know what the conclusion was.
Yeah,
Because
so
I don't know if what happened was the truth or
Mhm.
if the story got confused. I'm too lost. I have no idea how this ended.
So let's begin with this. My very first note is that the movie begins with a mystery. It begins with the
Yes.
disappearance. It's straightforward, no exposition, not like, oh, I grew up in a small town and now I'm 7 years old and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't give her backstory. It just goes straight into, there's the missing kid. She
Yeah.
witnessed a kidnapping and story begins.
Yeah, and then 20 some years later.
25?
I think 25.
25 years later, right? 25 years later, but the focus is on the disappearance.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
So it goes straight to the point. It doesn't ramble on in the beginning for 15 minutes about something that they didn't take notes on.
Doing great today.
I am doing fine. But yeah, so it just begins with that. And I can appreciate that. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Is that it's as the story continues, right? My second note on this is that we get to find out more about this mystery, the disappearance, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of disappearance movies and a lot of mystery movies, there's lots of plot twists and who done it, right? So this movie does that.
Yeah.
It's not that what's revealed is confusing. It's not the what's revealed. It's how did we get there?
Yeah, and
yeah,
because you're also learning about the girl at the same time,
right?
And why people are giving her problems with trying to figure this mystery out.
Yeah.
And why people don't believe her and why it's hard for her to prove this even happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a mix of everything, and the way they get things, it's hard. And then they talk quiet or mumbled, so it's hard to even understand them at some points.
Yeah.
And so the story got all kerfuffled and lost. But
that's what you're talking about. There's some things missing too.
Yeah. And it's they suddenly, it went from this person definitely did it, but then it's wait, were they lying?
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen? Or did this happen? So by the end, I'm just so did they catch the person who did it?
Yeah.
Or was it actually someone else that hired them? Or did she watch him get kidnapped in the middle of everything and he died later? It's so confusing. Yeah,
no, it is a little bit odd. And like I said, it's just how we got there.
Yeah.
It's not what's revealed, because everything that's revealed is that makes sense. But how, where, what?
Why are we here?
And the movie's only an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So this easily could have been 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes even.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But that's the thing, is that it just felt like there were some missing pieces.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that could have been explored, like her character and her backstory.
And I think I think that's the big part. I really think her backstory needed to be explained a little more, because they just kind of hinted at it, in one or two scenes, but they don't really explain it. So by the end of the movie, I'm so did she imagine that? Did this happen? I'm so confused.
Yeah. So my last note is that the story actually isn't directly on the mystery.
Yeah.
It's actually a story about Abby's story to prove that she's not a screw-up anymore or a pathological liar.
Yeah.
Because the later parts of this movie, the third act, we get to explore a little snippet of how she's a pathological liar.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't believe her story. And I wish we explored that more.
Yeah. And like I said, they kind of hint at she might be more than a pathological liar. Like it's a condition.
Right.
Like, because she has like episodes and things and it's that's where I get so confused. I'm like,
yeah.
Is she schizophrenic?
But it will.
And I'm just confused.
But I am more forgiving of this movie because it is an indie film.
Yeah.
It is an indie film. It's actually a Canadian film, so I gotta give him props for that. But that's the thing, is that I'm more forgiving of this movie because it is indie.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if this is the person's first movie. I didn't put that much research into the backstory of this film.
Yeah.
So I am a little bit more forgiving of this, but I
Yes.
wish there were things that we explored a little bit more. But the main plot is the mystery.
Yeah.
It is only an hour 40 minutes, so it doesn't get too dragged on. But let's go into our final ratings. What do you give it out of 10?
I gave it a 6.5.
Yeah.
Because I liked the story.
Yeah.
The story as a base was good. The acting was good.
Yeah.
It was just some things got skipped and it got confusing by the end. I wasn't confused in the middle, but by the end I was like, what?
Same goes for me. I gave it a 6.5. I almost gave this a 5, but because I am more forgiving that this is an indie film, that's why I'm giving it a 1.5 more, because it is indie, right? They probably didn't have a budget. The script writing, I feel like he cut out more than he wanted to. So whoever this director was, I probably should have researched even who the director was. But this director probably could have explored more, but they probably got nervous and said, oh, they won't watch a 2-hour and 15-minute movie. So they cut it out. But I gave it a 6.5. It's serviceable.
Yeah.
It's a decent movie. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's our review of the Disappearance at Clifton Hill. One movie I recommend that's kind of similar to this, and you can watch it as well, is called Destroyer, which is also on Hulu.
Yeah, that one was interesting.
Yeah,
that definitely got confusing too at times, but it was very good. But
in a similar light, if you're not into this kind of movie, you can watch a trailer. Another movie I recommend is Destroyer, but this, of course, is Disappearance at Clifton Hill. It is an indie film. It's on Hulu. I recommend it.
It's also had a very Broadchurch feel.
Yes, it did.
Everyone go watch Broadchurch.
Broadchurch,
that's
as well.
An amazing show.
But yeah, so Disappearance at Clifton Hill. It's on Hulu. Check it out for yourself. That's just our review of it. We just like to give, kind of our little points about it, and take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But 6.5 for both of us.
Yep.
But with all that said and done, enough about movies, enough about my rambling on. It's time to talk about video games with our next segment.
Top 3 Gaming News.
The top 3 gaming news is the gaming news that we saw in the past week, and we like to rank it 3, 2, 1, just to give you a condensed version of what's going on in the gaming industry.
Woohoo!
There you go. So let's just get started with this. We've got 3 pieces of gaming news for you, and our number 3 gaming news is it's a bit intriguing. It's about Sony, and Sony is why computer? Why are you doing this to me? Sony has lost a court case in terms of refund policies. I feel like they've done this before.
Probably.
I feel like we've reported on them losing a refund policy before. But let's get into the story. So the refund policy for Sony, they actually put this out last year, right? Article's linked down below if you want to give it a read as well. By the way, that's the Sydney Opera House. I was thinking, what should I put in the background of that PowerPoint? Australia. Sure. Why not?
Makes me want to go to the beach.
Well, too bad. But Sony has lost this court case. Their last policy, right, is that you have 14 days to return or cancel. I think it's cancel, not return, because if you played it in 14 days, you can't. I can't remember. But After 14 days, you're allowed to cancel your pre-orders, any digital purchases, whatever. Sony gives you 14 days to cancel it.
Okay.
Right? Now, according to 5, in this report, I'm seeing 5. 5 Australian video game players tried to do that. They tried to refund their digital downloads, but Sony, guess what they said? They said that you have to go through the distributor, the publisher, the developer to get your refund.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, not Sony. No. You have to find the developer and ask for a refund from them. Isn't that just lovely? So I have this quote right here. Let me just... Oh, no. Fine, we're just going to go over here then. Good job, Adam. You are an amazing computer wizard. The court declared that Sony Europe breached Australian consumer law by telling one of the 4 customers it did not have to provide a refund unless the game developer authorized it, and by telling a 5th consumer that Sony Europe could provide a refund using virtual PlayStation currency instead of money. Lies. And that's where the let me read this out. Australian Competition and Consumer Commission got in, and they're like, no, mate, we're not going to stand for that. They paused everything that they were doing, like watching out for great white sharks and other things that Australians do. By the way, the theme song is done by an Australian, so hey, how you doing? Sorry about that. But yeah, so they got into the game and they're like, hey, Sony, bull crap. They said no. And so the ACCCC, I think I said enough C's there, they won the court case and Sony was like, boo-hoo. And they lost. So there's different reports I'm seeing. I'm seeing 2.4 million. This particular report that we're going off of is $3.5 million. There's another report that says 1.7 million pounds or euros.
So it could be that the currency keeps changing.
I guess so.
Because the exchange rate is always changing.
Yes.
So have something to do with it.
Yeah. So they lost a lot of money is the bottom line. I'm going to go for 3.5 million. Could be wrong.
It's a lot of millions. Let's just go with that.
A lot of millions. A lot of mucho. But what do you think?
I mean, it's the way they put it is it's just so stupid. Like,
it is.
Like, oh yeah, we'll give you a return, and then you try and return it. It's like, no, that you didn't buy. It's not our game. You have to ask the distributor.
You have to ask the developer.
Which makes sense, but then why have a refund policy if you're not going to use it?
Yeah, no, it's
like
just,
that's stupid.
It is dumb. I'm glad that the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, hey, go Adam, got into the game and they're like, no, we're not going to stand for that.
Yeah,
but
because when you buy it on the PlayStation, who else are you gonna like?
Who are you gonna call?
Yeah,
Ghostbusters. But anyways, so good job, Australia, for being the heroes of our lives.
Good job.
So, next piece of gaming news is that Sega. Talk about some weird stories here.
Yeah.
Sega has a Game Gear Micro.
Yeah.
And it's the size of a keychain. The screen is 1.5 inches. And it is $50 each.
Other than the price, when I first read something about this, I'm like, oh, so it's like a video game hit clips.
That would be awesome. That'd be cool. But yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. So we've got this Sega Game Gear. You can see on the PowerPoint here if you can see it. But or you can, go to the article, link down below. And these little tiny things, there's 4 of them in total with 4 different games on them. So there's 16 games total, but no. You can't have all 16 games. No. You have to get all 4, which cost $50.
Yeah, that's a lot.
$50
for something that looks like it came out of a McDonald's meal.
It does. It doesn't look that good quality, and it's so small. Not GPD, Shipwreck on the CADcast, he said, if this is $20, maybe I was like, I agree. If it was $20,
I'd be like, all right, that's good. Like, I think hit clips were probably like $10 to $15,
something like that,
for like the main package, and then like each little one was maybe 10 or something like that. So, and this is more than hit clip. You got like a portion of a song.
Yeah,
you at least get a whole game.
You get a whole game.
You get 4 whole games.
That's the thing. They're so small. Like they're the size of.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have a problem with it, but the system itself looks so cheaply. It looks like cheap plastic, like that plastic that'll like make a little squishy noise when you press the buttons. So, yeah.
So this is a quote from the article linked down below, and this is the most weird part. This is just stupid. The article says, you may be wondering how exactly you're meant to play games on a 1.15 inch. Not 1.5.
1.15 is very important.
Oh my goodness. It's so.
Couldn't just be 1 inch. Has to be 1.1.5.
1.15 inch display, which makes the Game Boy Micro 2-inch panel the Game Boy Micro 2 inches. Stupid. Panels sound huge in comparison. Well, if you're willing to drop, in American dollars, $250 on a pack of all 4 consoles, $250.
$250 is a lot.
Sega is including a mini version of its big window magnifying glass. $250 for small plastic McDonald's toys and a magnifying glass. Are you insane?
Oh, so they're selling a magnifying glass with this so that it's a bigger image.
Only if you buy all 4.
That's stupid.
It is stupid.
That would mean you'd have to buy all 4 at the same time.
It's so dumb. Now, here's the thing. There is no window for a Western release. So it's only in Japan. And camera 2 shut off. That's cool. But camera 2 is now on. But there is no window for a Western release. But I'm glad, because this might do well in Japanese markets.
Yes.
It might. I don't know Japanese markets that well. But if it came to the West for $250 for... Uh-oh.
Look what you did. Stop touching your mic.
Oh, no. I need to stop doing props. I need to get a better XLR cable so that I can...
You need to stop moving your microphone.
Never.
It's not meant to do that.
Never.
That's why you have it on a stand.
Never.
So that you don't hold it.
Never.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways, stupid XLR cable. But for $250, it's going to flop in the States.
Yeah.
Now, the Game Gear didn't actually do that well in the United States anyway. But, you know, it is what it is. And people are saying this might be a collector's item. That's also stupid. Who wants to collect these? I don't know. I don't understand. If you're a collector, you're going for the actual Game Gear. Now, this is Sega licensed. Sure. It's dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It's a good idea, but it's way overpriced.
So, yeah, that's my take on it. But let's just move on to the number 1 gaming news, which I promised you in the intro of this podcast that I would talk about a little bit more. And I promise I'll keep this a little bit more condensed. But good job. Video game industry pauses events as U.S. reels from George Floyd protests.
Yes.
Wow, good job. Now, the reason why I'm being sarcastic is that, wow, good job. You're actually invoking change in racial equality when it's trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
Good job, gaming industry.
I think the thing behind it, though, is that it's not like they're making any changes. They're just saying right now that's where the view should be and not on us. Like,
yeah, PlayStation's was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I applaud PlayStation. I don't applaud them for screwing over Australian players, but
the way they handled this, they're like, listen, we don't need the attention on us right now. All the attention should be on this.
Right. And there's an article linked down below. You can see a collection of all the statements. I'm just going to read one in particular.
Okay.
But let me talk about PlayStation first, because they had an event that was supposed to be this past Thursday. And they said, listen, protests are going on. These voices need to be heard. So we're gonna keep the focus off of us and more on these voices. That's good.
Yeah.
PlayStation did the right move.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a PR stunt. It could have been fine, but I think that was genuine. I applaud PlayStation for that. Xbox's statement is like,
Well, all of them, whether it's genuine or not, it's still good PR.
It is. That's the thing. It's just PR points.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to get into. The most important of all of these statements, good old Blizzard Entertainment.
Yes.
Blizzard Entertainment. Talk about some PR points. And this is what I'm frustrated about, is that this is why I'm sarcastic in a way of just like, oh, good job. Wow. When it's trending on Twitter, when everybody agrees, well, that's when you come in. Mm-hmm. Blizzard Entertainment has this to say. If I can just actually find the quote. Good job. While we understand gamers... Oh, no, this is PS5's quote. My bad. But yeah, PS5 says, while we understand gamers worldwide are excited to see PS5 games, we do not feel that right now is a time for celebration, and for now we want to stand back and allow more important voices to be heard. That's PlayStation's.
Yes.
That's good. That's genuine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault PlayStation, but Blizzard also had a statement that I didn't prepare in the notes for some odd reason, because I'm a loser. But Blizzard, most famously, few months ago, this isn't 5 years ago, they were specifically against freeing Hong Kong protests.
Yes.
They were infamous in that light, saying that, no, we're not a political stance. We're going to take away any gamer's rights to make political stance to free Hong Kong and have them have their freedom. And we are going to ban anybody that, says that the protests are right in Hong Kong. But, but this is trending on Twitter. This is the protest that we're going to get behind. This is the danger in trusting corporations into saying, like, why didn't you make a statement? Why didn't you make it? Because sometimes it's not genuine.
Because it's not them. It's their PR people. It's their marketing people saying, listen, you need to do this because it'll look really good.
Exactly.
And same thing with, sadly, it's the same thing with celebrities. They do what they're told.
There is a frontman for band. I can't remember. I just watched this. It was a video. But there's a frontman for a punk rock band. Yeah. I can't remember his name. African American. And he said that celebrities are peer pressured to make a statement against police and for riots. And he said that celebrities shouldn't be peer pressured. It should come from the heart. Yeah. And he was saying that I stand by black rights, but I also stand with, police. Yeah. He stands by both, and that's fine. But you shouldn't be peer pressured. You should come from the heart. Yeah. Blizzard is peer pressured. Yeah. They were infamously bombarded by people who said that, why didn't you make a stand for Hong Kong? Not only did you not take a stand, but you infamously took away any kind of rights for anybody who wanted to, free Hong Kong from the oppression of the Chinese government. Yeah. But now this is trending on Twitter, and where's Blizzard's stance? Oh, that's convenient. Yeah. So I know I'm sounding a little bit harsh here, and that's because welcome to Games Groceries. I'm a character on a show.
That's how Adam is.
It's not how I am in real life. It's just a character I put on. But if I can go down to Adam right now, regular old Adam, this is why I don't, rely on companies making own statements, right? I think it is right to make a statement. It's fine. Yeah. But
as long as you're genuine about it.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't sound robotic, and as long as 5 months ago, you make a statement against protest, and now you're for this protest, that's a little funny. Now, PlayStation made the right move. Yeah. I think PlayStation, out of all of these, including EA statements, EA was fine, but PlayStation made the right move. EA is actually taking away, Activision. Sorry. Activision? No, Infinity Ward. I'm sorry. Infinity Ward is actually taking away all racist comments, usernames from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They're actually taking steps to let's get rid of them. They're not making a statement. They are taking action. PlayStation took action. Blizzard, No.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't believe you. You're just trying to get PR points, and that's the danger in all of this is that you're trusting companies to actually be genuine when they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on it. If I'm in trouble again, write in the comments down below because I trust that I got myself in trouble already twice.
Good job.
Good job, Adam. But yeah, so that's the gaming news.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stop myself there. Again, if you want to hear our full thoughts, you can check out What's the Biz.
Yeah.
It's on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're going to get more into it.
And I'll express more of my thoughts because if I expressed my thoughts with his, we'd never stop talking.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that that's what What's the Biz is for. It's for longer intro talks. If you don't care, you don't have to listen.
Yep.
But but I think that's most important in this time and age. But yeah. So that's the top 3 gaming news. We got Sony, who I just praised them. Sony
were good and bad this week.
They good for
they
you.
balanced themselves out this week.
But Sony taking away return policies from Australia. What do you think about that? Are you Australian? Write in comments down below. How do you feel about it with the ACCCC? How do you feel about them? Then our number 2 gaming news, the Sega Game Gear. Are you planning to pick one up? Probably not, because this is a Western market podcast. We're in America, so most of our audience is in America. But if you're in the Eastern markets, are you planning to pick it up?
Yeah.
And then finally, the game industry pauses events for George Floyd's protest. Do you think they're genuine? Like, do you actually believe in like Blizzard statements, or are they just doing this for PR points? Write your comments down below. And also, am I in trouble? Write in comments down below. So, with all that said and done, you're here for the big guest.
Yes.
You're here because you love Zombies Run, probably, and not to hear us ramble on and on. So, with all that said and done, I'm going to clear my voice because I got the hiccups now for some reason. Let's just bring on our guest for our final segment.
Coffee time.
All right, everybody, we are back with our very special guest, Adrian Hon, who is the co-founder, CEO of 6 to Start, most famously for Zombies Run.
Yeah.
Adrian, welcome to the show.
Hi, glad to be here.
Hi. So how are you doing today? You were saying off camera that it's a sunny day in Scotland, which
That's
is
nice.
very rare.
Yeah. It's pretty rare. It's so I'm up in Edinburgh. The company is kind of remote, so everyone works all over the place. A couple of us work in Edinburgh, and it's very exciting when it's sunny here. Everyone runs outside and sunbathes, even though it's not actually that warm.
Yeah, I would imagine it's like a sunny day in Seattle, so
yeah,
might as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, we definitely are excited to bring you onto the show, and because I really enjoy the game Zombies Run, and that's the thing. It is a video game, and it's a very special game in that kind of light because we're here now. We're in quarantine. Things are starting to open up a little bit more, but fitness was starting to, be on the rails here because gyms were closed. But here comes Zombies Run, which I felt like, and you can speak more on this. I feel like there was a bit of a surge of going back into Zombies Run, because it is a video game and fitness is, has to be taken outside now.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, are game sales going up or is
sure? So, we saw a huge effect pretty quickly. Obviously there were lockdowns around the world. Most of our players are in English-speaking countries because the game is in English.
Right.
And it's an audio game. So, there are some games like, Candy Crush or whatever. Even if it was in a different language, you could still probably figure it out. But with our game, if you don't really speak English, it's not going to work. So as soon as those lockdowns started hitting the UK, America, Canada, Australia, then obviously people aren't going to the gym anymore and they want to start running, or they want to make the most of their run because it's like the only exercise they're getting. And so we had a lot of people coming back to Zombies Run. So in the first couple of weeks, I would say our traffic doubled.
Wow.
Which is, it on its own, just like huge.
Yeah.
But then just kind of strangest thing happened where we get these automatic alerts when our servers start getting kind of overloaded. And I just saw this happen. And I was like, oh, wow, maybe we got featured on the App Store.
Yeah.
But then, so the thing is that the App Store and the Play Store, they are not featuring games that are remotely to do with pandemics or infections. So zombies are completely out. They're not going to be featuring zombies around for a while.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, they haven't said that, but I know.
Yeah.
You would figure, yeah.
So I'm always kind of curious, like why these things spike up. And we saw basically about 1 million downloads in a month. And it was because basically people on TikTok had discovered Zombies Run. This game has been out for 8 years. And it was like, it was teenagers and young people. And they're like, whoa, check out this game. It's makes your run really exciting. You just go for, your normal jog or walk or your run, you put the headphones in and it turns your run into this adventure. And I think it was this kind of perfect combination of like content for people who, are influencers or who just post to TikTok because they don't really want to be irresponsible, like going out partying, obviously. So they're like, well, what can I do on TikTok that I could talk about? And going for a run, socially distancing, but with this cool game, that's a fun thing to talk about. And it wasn't famous people who were doing this. It was just people who, had some friends, and it just really exploded. And it went from America to the UK to Germany. We're a #1 app in Germany for a while.
Oh, wow.
Which is odd. And so, we've seen just, we feel really fortunate, because we know a lot of people are obviously suffering. And it's strange to be in a position where, we're having a lot of popularity and success, with our particular game. I mean, the games industry as a whole is obviously, getting a lot of attention since people can't go out. And, I think all games are getting pretty popular now.
Yeah, and that's kind of going into my next question. Is that I know like why it is considered a video game, but you're right that the video game industry is really spiking. In terms of everybody's in quarantine, they need something to do.
Yeah.
And then here comes Zombies Run in that perfect kind of storm there.
Yeah.
Let's really talk about the game here. Why is it still considered a video game? Even though it's not really, like you said, it's an audio game, so it's not really a video.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's a good thing. That's a good question. I mean, most like digital games, people call them video games because there are other audio games out there, which are purely just audio, but they're so rare. Zombies Run is one of them. There are other ones that are really interesting, which are kind of like, have been designed for people who are not sighted, and there are people in the games industry who don't think Zombies Run is a game.
Really?
Most people, because it just looks a bit too odd, and they kind of think it's not interactive enough. But I don't get that a lot. I think it's there were obviously, people talk about walking simulators, right? Firewatch and Gone Home, and some people say, well, that's not a game, but it feels like a game and it looks like a game, and so I think Zombies Run kind of fits into that territory where it feels rich and immersive, and it does have a level of interactivity. It does matter in the game how quickly you run and whether you run or not, and we do respond to that. So I think that's why we consider ourselves a video game as well as a fitness app.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people have issues with those walking simulators, and Zombies Run being the ultimate walking simulator. I definitely agree, because we're a podcast that does focus on story-driven games, and sometimes it is Firewatch, where people in the video game industry, or not even the industry, but just gamers,
the community.
Right, the community. And we talked about this last week with our last guest, how there's this sort of disconnect that you put that gamer label on, and it has to be a certain video game
that you play or something.
Right. If it's not Dark Souls, then that's not a video game, But I would say the difficulty in Zombies Run is that, like, Dude, yeah, you gotta have leg strength, like my friend. No, I agree. And talking more about that, how people in the gaming industry. Now, we're not asking you to name any names. We're not asking you to burn any bridges. But what kind of other comments have you gotten about Zombies Run in terms of the video game industry?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the great thing about Zombies Run is that it's always kind of lived in this in-between world between, a pure utility app like Strava or Runkeeper, or Nike Run Club, which are just, they don't have any game. They don't really have any game components in them. Maybe they've got points and badges, but not really sort of actual gameplay. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, let's say, Pokemon Go, or Candy Crush, which is very much a game, actual game. Yeah. And we sort of live in the middle of that. And that's good for us because it means that we don't have a lot of competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's bad because a lot of people just don't know how to talk about what we do. Yeah. So, a lot of people in the video games industry, I would go so far as to say most people in the video games industry have probably heard of Zombies Run at this point. Yeah. Whenever I talk to people at conferences or festivals, they've heard of Zombies Run and maybe their friends have played it. But it's not really something the games companies think, oh, we got to get in on this. We got to go and make it. Whereas, you talked about Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. After Dark Souls came out, everyone was making Souls-like. There are all these games that are just trying to copy the mechanics.
Yeah.
And the part of that is money. It's popularity. It's like Zombies Run is popular, but it's not, Candy Crush. It's not Pokemon Go. It's not Dark Souls. And so I think it's just, we live in this space where it sort of uses ideas from these different worlds. We are trying to get people moving, but we're trying to make it entertaining. And the thing is with most games is that they try to make it as easy as possible to play the game, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think about the reason why mobile games are so popular, even more popular than console games, is that you play them anywhere.
Yeah, true.
You can't do that. I mean, you have to literally go out for a run. It's quite hard to play Zombies Run when you think about it. You can only do it maybe once a day. Whereas you can play Dark Souls or Fortnite as much as you want. Yeah. So it's sort of it's not something that a lot of people want to imitate. You have to really care about making a fitness game, to want to make a game like Zombies Run. And so that's why I think there's been kind of less conversation about it in the game industry proper.
No, that's interesting. And I like what you said about no one's really going after that kind of format.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that because you're right. You pretty much, Zombies Run is pretty much the only of its kind.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything else. Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, it wanted to get people to go out but it's walking. It's not focusing on getting your body moving. It was just more focusing on getting kids out of the house.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. It's not, they don't call themselves a fitness game. I mean, you do get fit as part of it, and it's great, but it's not. It's more location based, I think.
Yeah. Now, the other point is just like talking about video games, and we're talking about Dark Souls here a little bit. That's the other part that's very interesting about Zombies Run is that here's the one thing. Fitness, hard. It's very hard. Yeah. I've been on my fitness journey for 7 years. Holy crap.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so but 7 years, right? And it's hard to get fit, right? It's difficult. Now, what's awesome about Zombies Run, that I found, is that it adjusts the difficulty to be whatever you need it to be, right? I don't really need to explain because, like you said, it's one of the most popular games out there. I didn't see this. How many downloads has Zombies Run had so far?
Probably close to 8 million now. I'd have to have a look. Yeah,
I was thinking either between 7 and 10 million. So
yeah.
But I haven't seen the updated numbers, but it's out there.
Pretty popular.
Yeah.
Don't really need to explain.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
But if you haven't even touched Zombies Run yet, it shouldn't be intimidating because you can turn off zombie chases, you can turn on zombie chases, which I absolutely love because there's sometimes I'm slacking and it's just like, hey, listen, there's zombies approaching behind you, gotta run faster or all your supplies are gonna be gone. And you even have another app that's related to Zombies Run called the 500-mile walk. You've even put in the body weights, the body weight workouts, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I don't think I need to sell this game because again, but that's the thing is that it adjusts the difficulty so you can jump right into fitness. And so let me ask you something. How important was it to really focus in on adjusting difficulty to get people into this game, and not even just this game, but fitness in general?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's kind of two answers to that. One is a sort of more general one, which is like I think we're very much about accessibility. You know, and I think that's a great thing that is happening in the sort of wider industry. I think that there are some games that are really trying to make it possible for the widest possible audience to play their games and to enjoy them. So I just saw that The Last of Us 2, has a new mode for people who are colorblind, who have sight impairments, and you have Microsoft trying to create a new controller that is kind of more accessible. And, just Nintendo, for example, if they notice that you failed a level 7 times in a row, they'll just be like, hey, look, we're just going to let you skip this if you want, right?
Yeah.
And, and for me, I've never really been that good at video games. I play them and I enjoy them and I can get through them, but I'm not, I didn't have like a NES or a SNES growing up, and so I never like put in the hours learning how to become a really good like platformer or like Twitch gamer.
Yeah.
And so, I was just trying to play Control, that FPS, which is, looks really great and really interesting and stylish. And I just couldn't. I played it for like a couple of hours, and I was like, I can't. Because it has no difficulty levels and it doesn't adjust its difficulty. And I just kept on dying and dying and dying. I was like, I can't play this. I'm just going to have to stop. And until they add some difficulty levels. And so, our co-creator, Naomi Alderman, she, was, she goes running, but she's not like she would not describe herself as like an athlete, and she wouldn't want to be punished for not being able to kind of run fast enough. And so, and like I run a lot now, and I'm a pretty confident runner. I can run pretty fast. But I remember when I was at school, and I was just hated running. I hated doing cross country running. It was really painful. And I thought, I want to make a game that is fun for people who are really good at running, and fun for people who hate running. Right.
Yeah.
And that's quite hard to do, I think, as a sort of game design perspective. And that's why we did that. It's because, we made a game we wanted to play. Right. We didn't necessarily make the game that would maybe make the most money or even get the most players, but we wanted to make a game that we would enjoy playing. And it turned out that other people felt the same way, and it worked well.
No, that's really excellent. And especially talking about the running community and how you can be punished. Again, I'm not trying to start any trouble here, but the running community can be a little toxic, a little bit
sometimes. Yes.
Like, see, that's Adrian. Adrian's nodding. I'm not nodding, but that's the thing is that gamer community and the running community, if you're not a good enough gamer, right?
Yeah.
Like Adrian, you were saying, and even Liz, sometimes you struggle with that if you're not a good enough gamer, then you can't
play the right games.
Right. But in the same way with the running community, right? If you're not training for a full marathon, then what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
And I like how Zombies Run interacts in that way. And you can even walk in the story. Nothing's really forcing you to run. Except, Mr. Yao, who's always telling you, like, run 5, run. And I was like, no, just keep walking. But
I'll die. It's okay.
It's fine, man.
Yeah.
No, that's really excellent that your focus is that accessibility. That it may seem intimidating that it's zombies. The next word is run.
Yeah.
But you even tried out Zombies Run. And
I remember that's the way you introduced it to me. You're like, listen, you should really try it. Like, you don't even have to run if you don't want to. and you're just like, just try it. And I actually did enjoy running in that time, like, because I would jog because I wasn't in the best shape and I have really bad knees. So, but I would jog and I'm like, oh, this is interesting because it's like gives me something to focus on. Like, I can listen to music, but with Zombies Run, it's like I had something to focus on, something to entertain me, to make me forget that I was running outside.
Yes. So
that's what I like. I like that it's a distraction from what you're actually doing.
Yeah, and that has everything to do with like the excellent voice acting.
Oh, yeah.
That's on the game, right?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. It's written well, and it's presented in a way where it gives you that drive, that focus, right? And I guess that goes into kind of my next point. That kind of segues into it. That we're talking about accessibility, right? In terms of video games and running, right? Because fitness needs that kind of accessibility to go into there.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a marathon runner to be into fitness.
Yeah.
But now we're talking into how fitness video games, right? How this needs to be a video game. But how important was it to really focus in on the story? Because that's the other thing, is the story is written so well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ever since I started wanting to make games, story has always been like a huge part of what's attracted me to games. And maybe that's because I've never been good at platformers. And so if you're not great at that, then you tend to focus on things like, point and click adventure games, or walking simulators or RPGs.
Right.
And, I've, always loved reading fiction and science fiction. And, I'd always been a long-time collaborator with our co-creator, Naomi Alderman, who I've worked with for 10, 15 years now. And I remember when we had the idea for Zombies Run, actually, it was like 8 or 9 years ago now. And, I said I just wanted to make a game that was audio-based and was about running. It felt to me that was like a really interesting kind of like area. And I didn't really understand why no one had done it yet.
Yeah.
And we talked, and I didn't think it should be zombies necessarily. And then Naomi said, "Oh yeah, zombies, that'll be great, because, it's really visceral, but it's also a great source of storytelling. If you look at something like The Walking Dead, which I don't actually watch, but I understand extremely popular, and it's just been going on forever. And there's a reason why that show has like 8 seasons or 10 seasons. There's a reason why there are just so many zombie movies. And so many different types of zombie movies. And it's because it's a great story engine. That's what they call it. It's just,
or even The Last of Us, kind of like somewhat zombies. Yeah.
It's a bit like superhero movies. It's like, with Marvel, you can do a superhero movie that is a detective story or a fantasy or science fiction. It's something you can meld with other things. And zombie stories are like that. And so the reason why that's important to us is because I didn't want to make a game that people would play once or twice or 5 or 6 times and just be like, I'm done. Because I mean, that's okay for a lot of games,
Sure.
But for a game that's actually trying to improve your fitness, we know that the most important thing is to try and get you into a habit. And that takes weeks or months.
Yeah.
And I don't know many games that, I personally think that if you're going to do that with a fitness game, storytelling is one of the best ways of doing it. It's not the only way of doing it. You look at stuff like Beat Saber or Dance Dance Revolution, those are
true.
Fitness games and people, and that, like, music is a big part of that, right? And we have music in our game as well. And I think storytelling, though, if you look at how compelling like soap operas are, or watching something like Game of Thrones is, we thought, okay, if we can make a really compelling story, we can get people playing this for years. And so that's why we put a lot of emphasis into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, can I ask you, you mentioned earlier that you didn't necessarily want it to be zombies, right? What was your ideal? If it wasn't zombies, what did you want to make a story on?
It wasn't a story. It was more, I actually still want to make this game, but it was just going to be like a sort of more traditional video game, which was just about speed. It was about, I mean, that's not kind of except, well, was going to say it's not as accessible, but I think I figured out a way of making it accessible. It's just going to be like more pure gameplay and not story.
Okay.
And I still think we'll make that game actually at some point. You know, it's not either or. But with zombies, you know, I think that, you know, I originally kind of sighed when I heard the idea because I was like, zombies, man, that's been done too much, you know. And this was back in 2011, so just imagine what it's like
the
now.
peak of everything.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And I thought, you know what, zombies are over. We can't do zombies. But of course, here we are, and it's still happening. So that was part of the reason why I was a bit resistant to it at first. But then I think the more we talked about it, the more we realized, you know what, it just kind of fits the idea that you're a runner who is being sent out on these expeditions or supply missions or to rescue people. It's just really urgent. You know, we talked about, could you do like a James Bond thing? Could you do like a fantasy thing? Yeah, you could do all these things, but like, why doesn't James Bond just get in a car? You know, I mean, he can't be running around all the time. So that's kind of the reason it just fit extremely well, you know, with the kind of gameplay we wanted to provide.
Yeah, no, and like I said, like the story driven aspect of it, and I love how, like you said, you're deemed runner 5, right? That is your name. You don't have to input, you know, my name is Adam, and it has to constantly, and it, you know, the story and the voice actors, right? They kind of adapt to that, right?
Yeah.
Where you are runner 5, you identify as runner 5, right? Also, really nice touch here. I love how it only comes into one earphone, so you feel like you have an earpiece. It's not coming in on both. It's coming. Yeah. I love that touch of it. But no, I think the story of it is just vastly important. And like you said, sometimes gameplay can be seen on that. Like that one game you want to design. I don't want to push too hard in case you don't want to talk about it. But
no. I mean, I'm really interested in augmented reality. You know, some people talk about Zombies Run is, Zombies Run is a kind of audio augmented reality, which is kind of true. You know, I think people talk about augmented reality in the sense that it sort of transforms your sense of the real world, you know, which is what we do, although we're not as sophisticated as, you know, Pokemon Go or other, you know, true, you know, visual AR games out there. At the point at which, you know, people, like millions of people have, you know, heads-up display glasses that they can run around in, that's going to be really exciting. And I think there are some things we'll do there that will be related to running. And it probably won't be Zombies Run, or it might, you know, it won't just be Zombies Run, because everyone's like, you should do Zombies Run in augmented reality. I'm like, yeah, but the zombies are behind you, like not in front of you. So, so that's not gonna, you know, I don't want you like running, looking over your shoulder, horde of zombies behind you. That's not going to work. You have to make a different game. So, I'm super excited about that. We actually made Zombies Run for Google Glass when that came out, and I remember testing that in London, like around Hampstead Heath with like Google Glass. It looked like an idiot, and it was not good. It was not a good piece of hardware. So, but at some point, the hardware will be good enough and the technology will be good enough, and it's going to be really exciting. So that is we could probably do it just with audio, but I think it'd be better if we could do it with like a heads-up display.
So before we go into our social media answers, just a quick question for you. Talk about augmented reality and the technology behind you being in the industry. Do you think we're nearing that within the next couple of years, or do you think in the next 5 years?
I mean, the rumors are that Apple is going to have something in the next couple of years, and I think that's probably true. But you know, having actually run with one of these things, you know, if you don't want to be getting sick, then it's going to be a little while, because, you know, you've got glasses, I've got glasses. When I go running, my glasses are bouncing around, and like, unless it's like, you know, tracking your retina or something, which is possible, but it's expensive, then I don't think these devices are going to be great if you're moving vigorously. But you know, a bit like smartphones, you know, it's going to move very quickly. So I think 5 years, 10 years, you know, is is good. And it's a little bit odd for me, like as someone who kind of runs a business, because on the one hand, I'm very excited about the new possibilities like
right.
AR. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I kind of think, well, as soon as that happens, we're going to have to completely redesign Zombies Run.
Right.
And so kind of, I don't really want to do that just because it's a lot of work. So, it's a weird situation to be in where, but, that's what happens when you do something that's dependent on technology. New stuff comes along all the time and you have to be comfortable with that,
Very true. But I'm very excited for that day to come.
Yeah.
So kind of a little bit of closing out our time. I asked you, all of you, on Twitter and on Instagram and Facebook, I guess, if you want to go on Facebook. But I asked you guys the question: what are your thoughts on fitness video games? And I have 4 answers here that we can read. First one actually comes from @CommanderNikki on Twitter, who has to say, talking about fitness video games. She says, they're honestly great if done right. Pokemon Go and especially Zombies Run got me to go out and move again. Now she's actually located in, I'm not going to say what city, but she's located in Germany. And you were just saying that, there's a huge spike in Germany. Got me to go out and move again after a period of laziness. Zombies Run is so well done. I love the story and all the characters. The episode that won me over was A Voice in the Dark. She then continues, I never would have guessed that just some running game would have had me in tears. Such a well done and emotional episode. Wow. Also, walking sims, a little bit extra cool when playing on a stepper. Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
She does that.
And fitness video games characters is very important for motivation. She also talks about the Ring Fit, especially Ring Fit on the Switch. That's another good one. But she I know she absolutely loves Zombies Run.
Yeah.
And the characters really make you care for the story in Zombies Run. Not trying to hype up our guest here, but it's true though.
But it is. It's a very interesting game and app to interact with.
Right. Any thoughts on the comment?
Yeah, it's so funny how not funny. It's so interesting how our story is, it's really emotional, and this is a kind of tiny bit of a spoiler, I guess, but like people occasionally ask us as well, oh, do you know how the story is going to end? And now we have no idea like how long. We have many, many stories we want to tell, but we have talked about at least part of how the story would end. And I kind of want to put a disclaimer on that when it comes out. It's just like, look, if you think the other things have been sad, then just take a whole pack of tissues with you because this is going to destroy you.
Oh, my God.
And it's funny because it's like, it's not... I don't know that like intuitively it makes sense to have a fitness game that puts you into tears, but if I was like challenged to be like, well, why does that make sense? Like, from a sort of business point of view or game design point of view, I'd say like if this game can put you into tears, you're obviously so attached to its characters and so attached to its like world and its plot that you're going to keep coming back. If you just run through it and you're like, oh, that was like fun, and you don't really care, that's not really that interesting,
Right.
And so I think we have our fair share of action, and a bit of scariness and a bit of horror, but mostly action. But I think you have to add that sense of sadness, and reality there, because that sort of like gives it real substance. So, a lot of people mention that mission as one of their favorites, and after we heard that, we were like, okay, we're going to reorganize season 1 to move that mission earlier. So people are going to hit that experience, which sounds awful, but at the same time, it's like, well, I don't know, like we're going to put our best foot forward.
No, I get it. You got to hook them in so that, it makes sure that there is like more to the story. It's going to hook you, right? And I agree with that statement. Like that's what hooks are for.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things you sent over is the thing that we always have to fight against is people thinking Zombies Run sounds like a game where you hear zombies groaning at you every 30 seconds, right? And like, I get it. I mean, that's what I think it would be. I would have thought it would be like just from the name alone. And whenever I talk to people about it, and whenever we promote it, and whenever we advertise it, we always say, no, it's not just zombies growing in your ear. It is this like amazing story and experience. Yeah. And so, we kind of have to overplay that in a way, in order to kind of convince people.
No, definitely. So we got another comment from Larry. I think it's pronounced more man, but I met him a while ago. I just forgot how to pronounce his last name. So talking about fitness games, they helped me from the times they helped me for times that I was using them. Sadly, Ring Fit Adventure is still just sitting there. And that's the thing is that I find, fitness video games to stay on point. Yeah. Because you have to actively, it's not like you sit on a couch, you have to actively participate.
But I think when you have a fitness video game, it helps make that transition from not working out and not having a routine to getting into working out, because it's that common medium of like, I'm being entertained and I'm watching something, but I'm also getting my fitness. Like, that's like, I watch just fitness YouTubers, like, and I work out to the YouTuber. Like, it gives my mind something to focus on, because I'm focusing on them and not my breathing. Yeah, true. But so I think that's why fitness video games are so popular, because it's that good way of getting started working out again.
No, it's
I wish there were like 100 times as many fitness video games out there, and I realize that would be bad for competition, but I just think that there's just people come in all different kinds, and people are motivated by different things. And I think the fitness industry, we talked about how there's a certain culture around a certain part of the running community and a certain part of the gym community. The first time I went to a gym, I was like, am I going to, look wrong or use the machines wrong or something, and I think people are nervous about that because of there's a perceived culture there. And, games like Ring Fit Adventure or, Beat Saber or all these different things, even things like Zwift, it's great that there are different ways of people getting into it. My sort of Nintendo is like so interesting because arguably they are like the best of this. There's Wii Fit, which was like
I love my Wii Fit.
Yeah,
I mean that sold. I want to say I think that sold like hundreds of millions, if not like $1 billion of worth of hardware. It's just like unbelievable. Like and arguably the Wii itself, because it had Wii Sports, was sort of partly marketed on fitness.
True.
And Ring Fit Adventure, has done pretty well, not as well as Wii Fit, but, really popular. I think there's a lot of interest out there. I think the problem with Ring Fit Adventure, because I've got it and I was like very interested to try it, is it just takes too long to actually start playing it.
Really?
Because you have to go and boot up, the Switch and put all the controllers into the pockets and stuff. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, now go and do the warm up, and you feel bad for skipping the warm up. And it's like, okay, I just want to like stop playing,
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's, as a kind of aside, I think that's a problem with VR as well. I think that's a problem with a lot of different sort of unusual games where it's like you kind of need to like arrange your living room, just to start playing. Whereas with a normal console game or even better a mobile game, you can just be like, I want to play a game, bang, you play. Like 10 seconds later, with Ring Fit Adventure, if I want to start playing, I've got to get changed. I've got to go put all the stuff there. Maybe I'm going to move the coffee table out of the way. It's like, I'm lucky if I'm playing 5 minutes later, which is better than, the gym, right? Because you've got to drive there, maybe, or whatever. But it sort of loses out, when you think, okay, do I play Animal Crossing or do I play Ring Fit Adventure? I know which one's easier. So, yeah.
No, that's what I like about Zombies Run is that I use that, first intro talk where they're sending everyone 5 to kind of like stretch, do like a warm up walk. And that's pretty much what I do. And then when it says run, you're good to go. It's not the game booting up. It's just giving you time. You can start running.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it if, you're nearing 30, you should probably stretch. But that's the thing is that you can use that time for whatever, warming up, just start running. It's on. It's go time.
Yeah.
But so we got 2 more comments from Instagram. This is more of a suggestion for Zombies Run. This is from Tell a Story of Love on Instagram, saying he would kill for video elements for Zombies Run game, or a video game app that as you finish stories running, you could log into the game with a code to unlock secrets. And yeah, you know, kind of like one of those things like, oh, you want to watch, you know, this kind of video. But, you know, that's like a little suggestion.
Yeah.
I understand where he's coming from, but like you said, I think the magic of Zombies Run is it's audio only and it does its job and and building your base, you know. But have you gotten comments like that before?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of ideas for more video gamey like aspects to Zombies Run.
Okay.
One of them, you know, there's this game that I loved called Flight Control that was one of the kind of first games on it's on like iOS. It was like where you sort of go and like you're like a flight controller, air traffic controller, and you sort of draw paths for the planes.
Okay.
I was like, I want to do that for runners. I'm just giving away ideas now. You know, so you just like draw the paths of the runners around zombie hordes.
Oh, cool.
And so like it's not. So here's the problem with like these games. Like game designers have like a million game ideas,
right?
You know, and we have ideas for making the base builder way more interactive because everyone's like, oh, I wish it had the zombie attacks. You know, I wish you could do more stuff there. I wish we could do that as well. You know, we're in a weird situation where the company is modestly profitable, which is great because it means we can keep on making improvements, but not so profitable that we can go and like spin up a new team to, you know, make this stuff. And that's a weird place to be because like most games are not modestly profitable. They're like either incredibly profitable, and then you can just make a million spin-offs, or they don't make any money and you just, you know, make a new game. Yeah. And so it's all of that is to say, I would love to do more video gamey stuff there. And I'm sure that's the same for everyone else in the company. But it's more like being a little bit careful with our resources, I guess.
No, like that's the thing is that most people realize like they make those comments and suggestions and it can just happen. Here's my suggestion, just make it.
Do it.
There's plenty of things that I'm thinking about for this podcast, just a podcast, not even the complexity of designing a video game. And it's like, that suggestion's great. 1, I don't have the money for that. 2, I don't have the time for that. It's just one of those things that you have so many good ideas, and you have, like what you said, you have to be careful with the resources that you do have. Not even careful, but utilizing them.
And I think, you know, just as an aside, I think it's hard because if you get into games or podcasting, you know, it's probably because you've got ideas and you're a creative person. And so it's hard to like, okay, now I've had this one idea. I'm just not going to do any other ideas for like 7 years.
Right.
You know? You know, you have to sort of take that. You have to be creative enough to have that idea, that new idea. Then you have to be persistent enough to carry it forward. And, you know, it's getting that balance right. That is a hard thing. You know, and so I hope that we'll be able to do it. And it's really, the trick is being able to keep on doing experiments and small things that allow you to, you know, to not stagnate, but not get completely distracted.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. So we have our final comment here, and then we'll go into our final thoughts. Volt Supreme finally says, I think it's a great idea with lots of potential, talking about fitness video games. I'm not sure how effective they are in holding your attention long term, though at the moment. I've got Wii Fit, and that's where my experience ends. Interested to check out the discussion we're talking about. You know, this very podcast, very meta right now. But he's right in that point. It's really and it's anything, not just fitness video games, but going to the gym in general, right? You have that. This is why I hate going to the gym in January, because you got all the people that go in, and then February, it's your equipment again. And that's not really a good thing, right?
No.
It's funny, but it's not a good thing. But like with Zombies Run, like what you were saying, you got to get people still in there. And that's why you're thinking a voice in the dark needs to get up there because you want to get them committed.
You want to captivate them so that they are like, well, I want to know more. So they have to keep coming back and they have to keep running.
Right. Any thoughts on that comment?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's absolutely true. Most fitness things, gyms, classes, apps, games, they are really good at getting you to sign up, and they're not good at getting you to keep using them.
Right.
And, that may be good for business, but it's not great for like an overall experience. And I think the hard part of this is that there's no one solution for everyone, right? I mean, if we wanted to make a game that hit the largest possible number of people, we wouldn't have made Zombies Run, because a lot of people just don't want anything to do with zombies. Right?
Yeah, true.
Even if maybe they would like it if they tried it, just a name alone is off-putting to some people. But I think the important thing is if you can't make something that's going to work for everyone, then you have to make something for everyone, right? So instead of having one game for like 100% of people, you need to have 100 games for 1% of the people. And so I know that we have players, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of players who are long-term players, who are paying for it, every year, who have played it for years, and it works for them. And it won't work for other people, and that's okay. I'm not going to pretend that it's going to be a kind of long-term solution for everyone. But as long as it's a long-term solution for some people, enough people, then it works for us. And for some people, it's not going to be a game. It's going to be a running club, or going swimming or whatever. It's fine. What I hope is that there'll just be more stuff out there, because I think that's not enough for people.
No, I totally agree. But yeah, those are some of our comments in there, and kind of wrapping up our conversation here, which was excellent, right? I guess my final thoughts is that, as gamers, right, the hardcore gamers, whatever term you want to put in there, but even just people who enjoy video games, right? Yeah. I feel like there needs to be this idea that fitness is vital to life, right? You want to live a fuller life, fitness will get you there. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be an Olympic athlete, right? It doesn't mean that, right? Like when you were strength training with me, I was trying to deadlift 500 pounds, broke my back at 450, but that's, another story. But you don't have to be this, this super strong man. And that's where Zombies Run kind of gets in there, that you're still playing a video game, whether or not have video elements or not, but you're still playing a game. And it still puts that, importance to fitness in life. Right. And that's what I appreciate about it. It's that we need to make sure that fitness is a priority in life for everybody. Right. Liz, any final thoughts?
No, I definitely agree that you have to make it a priority, especially when you're a gamer and your hobby is sitting. Just sitting. Like, even when I'm doing art and crafts, I'm getting up and down and trying to get different things. Like, so it's one of those things that, like, you need to make sure that you're moving. And the good thing about fitness, like you said, you don't have to be an Olympic runner. You don't even have to be trying to lose weight. Just moving in general and getting your body moving and getting it working will help you in the long run. Right. Yeah. Adrian, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I think that what we try to do, we don't try and gamify fitness. That's what some people talk about, like sort of persuading people to sort of come back. We just try and make it so that if it's a rainy Sunday morning and you're like, I need to go out for a run, you're really excited because you
to get back
wait to find out what happens next. That's what we try to make. It's not like, I need to go for a run. Like, I really don't want to do it. Maybe I'll skip it or something. I feel terrible. We wanted to make it so that it's like, I can't wait to do this. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah, that's the goal. Because it shouldn't be a chore. You shouldn't be just like, oh, do it because it will make this other thing better. It's like, no, do it because you enjoy it. And I think if you are, like a lot of people, not someone who has done a lot of like exercise or played a lot of fitness games, that might seem just completely bizarre. Like, how could that possibly be the case? It's like, no, I promise you, like there is a game out there, or there's a sport out there that will be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, definitely agree.
Yeah.
Well, as the battery for our camera is dying, I think this is a good place to end the conversation. Adrian, once again, we thank you so much for coming on the show. We really value you being here. So Zombies Run, available on the Play Store and on iTunes. I'm an Android man, so I don't know what the store is called. Apple Store. It's on there. Anything else that any big projects you're working on that we should look out for?
Everything's in Zombies Run. Check it out. We have this new home workout mode that you mentioned that is kind of body weight, and we have a big update coming out in this summer. Should be out by July with lots of new things, lots more stories and virtual races, which is going to be really exciting.
Nice.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, again, we thank you for coming on the show, and we thank you all for listening to this week's podcast. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter at Gaming Groceries or on Instagram, Games Groceries, all one word. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Definitely hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when all these podcasts come out. It's super special to just do that. But I don't know. But with all that said and done, we thank you for listening to this week's podcast. We hope you have a safe week and have a good week.
Bye.